convicted murderer, locked in a classroom, bound but unguarded. I see no issue.
And I'll point it out when we get to it. It's pretty obvious if you're thinking about the Bootstrap paradox. J.K. gives us the loop.
So if you guys remember last episode, you remember
We
talked about the Bootstrap paradox.
Yeah.
And I had somebody ask me, shout out to Daniel Torch.
Daniel.
He didn't fully understand the Bootstrap paradox. Like, it wasn't fully explained. One of his more prevalent questions was, so Harry knew that he could produce the corporeal Patronus as a stag because he saw himself do it. Therefore, he knew he could do it. But how did I guess it would be past Harry? How did past Harry learn it in the first place?
Correct. Yeah. So let's go. There are a few movie examples of the Bootstrap paradox, right? One of the best ones is Back to the Future. Marty McFly goes back in time, and if you remember the scene, he goes on to the stage at like the high school concert, and he's playing. He picks up the guitar, and he plays with this band. And I can't remember if some guy couldn't make it or whatever, but he gets up and he plays with this band, and he starts playing Chuck Berry's song. It escapes me. But he starts playing a Chuck Berry song. Maybe Johnny Be Good? I can't remember. Anyway, so he's playing a Chuck Berry song. And he's going out. Like, he's going strong on the guitar to the point where everyone's like, what is this? We haven't heard this type of guitar riff before.
Yeah.
And I think even Marty's like, just give it time. You guys are going to love this. Well, anyway, so he's playing Chuck Berry's song. So then the guy, if I'm remembering the scene correctly, one of the band members, you see him later, he's on the phone and he calls his buddy Chuck Berry. And he goes, hey, man, I just heard this song.
Yeah.
And I could be completely butchering the song. But anyway, he goes back in time. He plays this Chuck Berry song. Chuck Berry has not written that song yet.
Mm-hmm.
So then Chuck Berry is introduced to the song, and then Chuck Berry, in the future, comes out with this song, Johnny Be Good. But Marty McFly learned the song from Chuck Berry. But in the past, Chuck Berry learns the song from Marty McFly. Yeah. So because of time travel, we don't, like, the source of the song is now, well, Marty heard it from Barry, but Barry heard it from Marty. Yeah. Or like in Terminator, right? Terminator, what's the company in the future? Skynet, Skytech, something like that. They send...
Skytech sounds about right.
I think they send the Terminator back in time when Skynet doesn't exist. And then because of the equipment of the Terminator, people find out about it, and then they create a company called Skytech or Skynet, whatever it is. So it's like, but the only reason that the Terminator is back in time is because that company sent it. But then people find out about the Terminator and that technology, and then they create a company called Skynet. Now, my favorite example is from my favorite movie that Jeremiah has not seen, which hurts my feelings because I feel like we've been friends for over a year now. Interstellar introduces the ability to travel through space-time. So in the beginning of the movie, his daughter Murphy, her room, books will fall off of her bookshelf in Morse code, right? You see the spacing of the books, and Murphy, his daughter, who's super intelligent, it's like, I think it's Morse code. They get back one day and there's been this dust storm, and they see that there's coordinates through the air because gravity has been manipulated. And the daughter, she thinks it's a ghost, and the dad is super technical, and he's like, no such thing as ghosts. These are just anomalies. So anyway, so these things are happening on Earth in his daughter's room, and fast forward, he travels into space, and it introduces the theory of relativity. So space-time works differently depending on gravity. It's a super cool movie. But anyway, at the end, he finds himself in what they call a tesseract. And tesseract shows up in many stories. Wrinkle in Time. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is probably the most famous. Most people would know it if you've watched the MCU. You got the blue cube. That's the tesseract, right? Loki gets it. He's able to transport himself because the space stone is in the middle of it. So anyway, so the main character, he finds himself in this tesseract, which is a 3D model of time, because he has to communicate to his daughter in the past. Well, he sees, her room. If you've not seen it, it's super cool. But he sees her room, and he sees his daughter before he left, before he went into space. And he tries to get her to stop. So what does he do? He bangs on the books in Morse code to get his daughter to try to stop him from leaving. And then that doesn't work. So then he's like, okay, well, I'll put the coordinates to NASA in. He did all of these things because he saw himself do it, or he saw it done years before.
Yeah.
So now he knew he needed to do it. So he learned it from himself, like past him learned it from future him, but future him learned it because past him learned it from him, right? So there is no present source of the genesis of the information or the event. So like Harry.
That makes sense, yeah.
It's like Harry. Harry sees somebody create the Patronus. But how did that Harry know that he could create the Patronus? There is no genesis of the knowledge because he learned it from seeing himself in the future.
The only thing I could think to answer it would be he's already taken anti-Dementor lessons, and he had the ability to do it all along, but he just needed that little encouragement, I guess you could say.
Well, and what's very cool is, I think inadvertently, J.K. Rowling gives us a little loophole in this chapter.
Okay.
Which is cool, and I'll point it out when we get to it. It's pretty obvious if you're thinking about the Bootstrap paradox. J.K. gives us the loophole, which is cool.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong. I have not studied time travel, and I know how deep it could get.
Yeah.
But if you time travel, and you came back to the present time, and like in this situation, wouldn't you have to kill your past or future self? Because in this, Dumbledore unlocks the door, they walk in, they disappear, they walk in, they're there. Well, wouldn't the past, I guess it would be their past selves at this point, wouldn't they just keep doing what they're trying to do, keep coming into the hospital wing? At some point, that cycle has to end.
So
doesn't just end, right?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So when it comes to time travel, the two main time travel theories are time is linear, and then you can have multiple time variances, right? So let's go back to some examples. So
Just Hermione also time travels.
So
whole...
so in a linear model, those and really in a time variance model as well, but in a linear time model, future Harry and past Harry coexist for only 3 hours.
So there's an expiration.
And there is an expiration.
Yeah, okay.
Right. There is an expiration. So if you look at if you've seen Back to the Future,
Been a long time, yeah.
Doc says, Marty, you got to be careful. You can't change the past, because if you change the past, you change the future. And so remember, he takes like a picture with him, and he goes back, and obviously when he goes back in time, the shopping mall parking lot isn't there. Or in the first one, I think it was there. And then maybe the second one, it wasn't there. He went back further. But anyway, so things are different back in time, and he runs into his mom, and his mom has a crush on him instead of having a crush on her dad. So he looks at the picture and he sees himself fading. So in that linear model, if you go back and you change time, you can erase the future that existed. Okay?
Yeah.
In a time variance model, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're saying, no. You can't erase what has already happened. You can go back, and if you change anything, now it's just a separate reality that's happening. But those two realities never converge, right? They never converge. They just create two alternate realities or variances in time.
Well, what about Hermione's instance? I mean, the only people she's hiding from really is Harry and Ron. I mean, she's seeing everybody else, whether or not they also notice she has classes at the same time. I don't know if it's relevant or not, but, you know, she's...
Yeah, every time she uses...
back... Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is, if she's turning back time 2 to 4 times a day, 5 days a week, we learn that school term is around 10 months. So let's say it's an average of 3 hours a day she's turning back.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Right? So that's 15 hours a week. Right? So now you go a month, if it's a 4-week month. Right now, she's turning back 60 hours in a month. And then if it's a 5-week month, right? So now you're getting 75 hours that month. So over the year, over that 10 months, between 600 and 750 hours she's turning back. Right? So at the end of this school week, or this school year, she's technically between 2 and 4 weeks older than she should have been if she had not used the time turner, which, you know, is insignificant, right? But she's, every time she turns her clock back, one of her is in one class and one of her is in another class. And so she really doesn't run the risk of running into herself, because she's only turning it back as much as she needs to for one class. So once once she catches back up, then
it gets messy. It gets messy.
It gets messy.
We could talk about this for a while and go every possible direction that there is.
But the true difficulty with time travel is, oh, we failed. We let Pettigrew go. Just turn it back again. Yeah. Try again. Because you've you've already gone back and you've saved Sirius, but now when you go back, there's going to be 2 Harrys there that you have to avoid and 2 Hermiones that you have to avoid. And the law is, don't see yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Don't see yourself. Anyway, but then you have somebody like Dumbledore who's like, I don't need a cloak to be invisible. Well, okay, Dumbledore, you go back and get it. You go back,
we can go on this forever. So that being said, welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles, to Squib's Corner. I am Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew, your time travel expert.
I'm just sitting here like, I completely understand.
I am one of those guys that I can go down a rabbit hole for 3 to 5 hours max.
We tried to do a pre-show chatter and started out by talking about something positive, and 30 minutes later we were like, "Oh, we gotta record this another day."
We should really do this, yeah. So that being said, I know a little about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So just Google.
So does my friend Daniel Torch. So
just Google. Just Google Bootstrap paradox. I'm sure there's pages and pages and pages. I originally heard it from Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, who I love listening to all of his stuff. But anyway, if you want to learn more, just go online. It's super interesting. But today, what a day! This is a special day. The final chapter.
Copyright.
I know. That's not in the budget. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. We're closing it tonight. Chapter 22. Owll post again. But before we go forward, we go backwards to chapter 21. But I think before we go backwards, all this time travel, huge shout out to all the Potterheads that have been following along and listening and or watching the podcast. Again, we're on YouTube at Squib's Corner. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, look up Squib's Corner. Share it with your friends. Share it with your loved ones. Anybody that you think loves the wizarding world of Harry Potter as much as we do, share it. We love all the comments. We love all the likes. We love all the questions. We've been getting some really cool responses to... Because we talk about some off-the-wall stuff. Like, as we're going through these episodes...
Well, we just started out this episode with the bootstrap.
The bootstrap theory. So very relevant. So, again, thank you to the viewers. Yes. Thank you to all of those listening out there. We absolutely love it. Thank you so much.
And before you get to the recap, I want to know your opinion on this title, Owll Post Again. Is it lazy or does it make sense? Because I thought, that's lazy. Oh, wait, that makes sense.
Well, you know my thoughts on the chapter headings. Yeah. So it's, it's like, okay, cool. And this one...
First chapter, last chapter.
And it could have been named anything, really. Yeah. It could have been, Lupin's Goodbye. It could have been, it's so many things. So Owll Post Again. It's special this time. It's a different owl, obviously. Yeah. So, it's a beautiful thing. So anyway, so chapter 21, Hermione's Secret. Hermione's secret is time travel, right? All year long.
That's a pretty big secret. That's a pretty big secret.
Look, kudos to her for, keeping that hidden.
Well, McGonagall was right.
McGonagall is rarely wrong, Jeremiah.
That is true. That is true.
McGonagall knows what she's doing. So Hermione has been able to get to all of her classes through the year because she was given a time turner that with just a little bit of a rotation back in time, she could satisfy all of her classes. It overwhelmed her. It was a lot on her. And we find that out this chapter, whether or not, she wants to keep that up. But good things happen in chapter 21. Harry and Hermione were able to go back in time a few hours. They were able to save Buckbeak from extermination or execution. Both work. And they were able to save Sirius Black from something worse than death. The Dementor's Kiss, where your body's still alive, but your soul is gone. So that was a beautiful thing. And the icing on the cake was that it really messed with Snape. As we see.
Yeah, it did.
At the beginning of this chapter, it really messed with Snape.
The Order of Merlin really hit him.
Oof. But we don't like how Snape was acting. No. We don't like how Snape was acting. So he had it coming. Yeah. And then he acted like a child once it happened. Mm-hmm. And we find that out in this chapter as well. So without further ado, let's get into chapter 22, Owll Post Again.
Seven-word summary. Man, I had a hard time.
This was difficult. A lot of things happen in this chapter.
I just went with great quotes, happy tears. That's Harry Potter.
I tried to come up with some on how the term ended, on the train back.
The term just kind of ended.
Yeah, and then there was all sorts of stuff. So I settled for, number one, is Godfather one word or two?
I think it's one.
I think it's one word.
Yeah. We'll let you get away with it. Even if it is 2 words, it's 1 word today.
There we go. Okay. So if it's 1 word, I can put uncle in there. Uncle Vernon. My godfather's a convicted murderer.
Yeah, and I kind of talk about that too, like how he's just like, I believe him. Everybody just believes Harry Potter.
Yep. 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 Not gonna risk it. Not gonna risk it.
I love the first handful of books. We begin with the Dursleys and then we end with the Dursleys. It's nice. It's not nice for Harry, but I enjoy it. I don't have to go through it, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just the 6th. Just the 6th book we don't start with at the Dursleys. We start at Malfoy Manor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. I think every book.
Might be.
Yeah, I think every book we start there except for the 6th. I would have to go back. Fact check me, fam. I love the comments that we're getting from you guys. Like, I love them. They're so good. They're so good.
That's great. But the 7 chapter notables for this one kind of had a hard time with it because it was a long chapter, but nothing really to point your finger. It's just kind of it was a wind down. Like, man, such a good ending to a book, but then you had this and it seemed like it could have been done better. I didn't think it was the best end to the book, but it all fits. It all fits.
I was hoping one of your chapter notables was going to be, because she likes to put Snape spat several times. I wanted you to put Snape snitched.
Oh, okay. So, number 1, one convicted murderer locked in a classroom, bound but unguarded. I see no issues here.
Yeah. Yeah.
2, you shall not pass. Oops, wrong series. 3,
Great series.
Yes.
But wrong series.
I got the book right next to my bed. I opened the book up last night. I said, let's see how far I can get. I read like a couple sentences and went, why is the TV in the living room so loud? You're listening to your phone. There's too much going on. And I put the book back. Number 3, you didn't think that would be an issue, Fudge? Of course not. 4, parting is such sweet sorrow. Can we say that? Are we allowed to say that? Or are we going to get copyright again?
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. Number 5, what in the magical binding law is going on? Number 6, family isn't always blood. Number 7, it was I who gave you the firebolt. So good. I had fun with these chapter notables, as you can see. I had to do something. First paragraph. Harry. Hermione was tugging at his sleeve, staring at her watch. We've got exactly 10 minutes to get back down to the hospital wing without anybody seeing us before Dumbledore locks the door.
Okay,
said Harry, wrenching his gaze from the sky.
Let's go. So, obviously, they've done everything that they wanted to accomplish in chapter 21. They saved Buckbeak. They saved Sirius. Now they've got to get back to Dumbledore. Remember, Dumbledore locks them in the hospital wing. They've got to get there. Oh.
It shouldn't even be registered as a pop quiz.
Oh, no, I'm nervous.
I just think it's funny.
I'm nervous.
What was the spell that was used to save Sirius Black?
Alohomora?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, you had me nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what could we be? Anyway.
No, there's no pop quizzes in here.
So Harry and Hermione, they run down the hallway towards the hospital ring. Not before Snape. Just kidding. I mean, not really, because they can hear the voices of Fudge. They can hear the voices of Snape. They're echoing, talking. Oh, the Dementor's kiss, is coming.
So I have an issue here. So one of the things they were talking about was rounding up the Dementors to go where Sirius is to perform the kiss. And this took some time to do. Now, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour it took, I think it was 30 minutes. I can't remember. But I would think since the Dementors have been looking for Sirius Black, that the call or demand for them to come back to perform the kiss would be instantaneous, not a matter of 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
I always find this odd when I read that. Oh, he had to go get the Dementors. You can't summon them like to come immediately. Like I don't understand that.
Yeah, because they work for or under the direction of the Ministry, and
Yeah.
we've seen multiple ways in the wizarding community of being able to communicate with others without having to go physically get them.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's because Dumbledore didn't want the Dementors on the school grounds as a general rule. You never see them when they're going to herbology. You never see them when they're going to, Hagrid's cottage.
Oh,
So,
that's true. I never thought about that.
I feel like they're at the perimeter, which again shouldn't be too far, but still, it's like. And like, can they go just get any Dementor? Is there a hierarchy? Like, are there ranks with the Dementors, or are they just all kind of mind sharing?
That's a good question.
Like they
That is a
don't
good
need to
question.
communicate. Yeah, it's almost like, is there a hive mentality with the Dementors that if one Dementor
I always assumed
gets
they were
information?
getting more than one Dementor. That's just me assuming, though.
Well, you
It
only
would-
need
I mean,
one.
it would.
You only need one for the
Yeah, you only
kiss.
need one. Yeah.
And I even think in here that he mentions only one
Yeah.
was coming. I could be wrong there, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 30 minutes to go get a Dementor.
Yeah, I've always found that kind of weird.
How about a really
seeing,
loud
seeing
whistle?
as they just tried to perform the kiss on him,
Yeah, they're
where'd
ready.
where'd they go? They just like,
Yeah.
oh well, let's leave.
Well,
Let's
and
go circle around and search for Sirius, even though we know where he is.
and that kind of brings up a question to me as well. So the Patronus comes. So Sirius Black, they have Sirius Black, and Harry and Hermione, and then the Patronus comes, and they all go back to their posts. Why would they go back to their posts? Because you know where Sirius is. It's not like the Patronus makes them forget. It just drives them away. So the Patronus drives them away, and then the Patronus trots back to Harry. Hello, Prongs. And then it vanishes.
Okay.
Are you telling me the Dementors were like, well, we better not go back and get that guy that we've been looking for 10 months? No. Mister, there's no pop quizzes.
There isn't, but okay, out of the whole Harry Potter series, I can only think of one person who cast a Patronus and it just sits with them. It does not go away after a few seconds or a few minutes. It's always there with them when they're in a certain place. Who is this?
Hold on. They cast a Patronus and it's always with them if they're in a certain place.
It's the only place I've noticed it.
Is this book or movie?
I'm not sure.
If it's movie, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's in the book.
Okay, so I'm trying
when
to
we
think.
get to it, I'll try to remember.
Hold on, I'm trying to
It'll
think.
be years from now.
So what is it? So Snape is the only Death Eater that can cast a Patronus.
And Snape makes his Patronus work for him, so that's pretty nice.
Well, so technically they all do, right? So if you're, you can send voice messages through your Patronus, right? So there's, stuff like that. Somebody casts a Patronus and it stays with them when they are in a certain place.
I'm going to be disappointed if this isn't in a book.
If they're in a certain place, is a certain place the room of requirement?
No. It's in the dungeons.
I don't know what you got.
Dolores Umbridge. When she's in the dungeons
No.
doing the trial,
Yeah,
and when
you're wrong.
Dumbledore
You're wrong.
it sits with her, it's sitting
Yeah.
there, right
Yeah.
there next to her.
Yeah, and that's fine. But because she makes it stay there.
Yeah.
Right. So if the Dementors didn't all leave at once, I don't think Harry's Patronus would have left.
Yeah.
So like even in the room of requirement, when Harry is teaching Dumbledore's army, they cast their Patronus, but there's nothing to fight.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
There's nothing to protect in there. So in the book, it talks about them running and swirling and doing all of the stuff. So Dolores Umbridge, when she's in the trial, the reason that she has the Patronus there is because overhead or in the halls, the Dementors are there. So she's doing it purposefully.
It does stay with her in the book as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like on her command.
On her command, but
because as soon as she's stupefied.
Well, she's the only one in the series that has her Patronus sitting right next to her as she's doing something not related to the Patronus.
Yeah, but the Patronus is there because they're in she's in the presence of Dementors.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just she needs it to be there, and it will stay there as long as she needs the protection. Because as soon as she's stupefied by Harry, the Patronus disappears.
Yeah, but she as far as I know. I could be wrong. She's the only one in the series that does that. So, bam!
Yeah.
I got you.
Well,
I got you.
It was kind of a weird scenario type question, but I get it.
Well,
I get it.
Hey, you can't make up excuses as to why you were wrong. I mean, you just got to accept it and move on. And kill that ant.
Yes, it was an ant. I like it. That was a good reference, man. I was trying to think of all sorts, and then I just say dungeons. I'm like,
see, that was either one of my better pop quizzes, or I just worded it so badly. We'll never know.
Do they consider those courtrooms dungeons, though? I mean, let's get into the nitty gritty here. No, I'm kidding.
I think it's in the dungeon.
Anyway, so what were we talking about? So they took 30 minutes, to an hour to go get the Dementor. And then in the book, we have another appearance of Peeves, which I can't wait for the HBO series to see what their spin on Peeves will be. That would be kind of cool. And he was overjoyed. Not that Sirius got away, but that Sirius was going to get the Dementor's kiss. So they move on till, Harry and Ron, they're still going on. They got 1 minute left. And they caught Dumbledore as he was giving the instructions to Harry and Hermione before locking the door.
I'm going to lock you in. It's 5 minutes to midnight. Miss Granger, 3 turns should do it. Good luck.
He turned around and saw, I guess, future Harry. It would have been to him, future Harry and Hermione.
Well?
We did it, said Harry breathlessly. Dr. Sirius has gone.
I wanted to see if you'd read it.
We did it, said Harry breathlessly. Sirius is gone on Buckbeak.
Well done. I think you've gone too. Get inside. I'll lock you in.
So they get back in bed. They get in the hospital wing. They get back in bed. Madame Pomfrey comes out asking if she's allowed to look over her patients. Oh, did I hear the headmaster leaving? Am I allowed to look after my patients now? I love you. Are in Madame Pomfrey's domain. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. And I mostly put that quote in there because I just wanted to hear your Madame Pomfrey.
Oh, yeah. She is upset.
Yes, she is. Yes. And now some more issues come up because Fudge says that Sirius must have disapparated. And is this the first time, like in the books, not out of our mouths, but is this the first time in the book we were referencing disapparation and apparition? No? Okay.
No.
When was the first time?
Well, we know we've talked about it in this book because they guess how Sirius is getting in and out.
Yeah.
And Hermione's like, have none of you read Hogwarts of History?
Okay, yeah.
But even the first book, when they talk about the Sorcerer's Stone being there, yeah, I think it's mentioned as well. I'd have to check, but this is not our first mention of it.
All right, that sounds right. So, chapter notable number 1, and Fudge is saying he should have left someone to guard Sirius Black instead of just leaving him alone. You think? Snape blames Harry, of course, and brings up a good point. Chapter notable number 2, saying you can't apparate or disapparate within the castle boundaries.
Yeah, it's chapter 5 or 4. Ron explains to Harry that his parents do not need flying Anglia to return from work because they can apparate.
Okay. Now, to be fair with Sirius, to be fair in general, a convicted mass murderer was captured and put inside a classroom, retained, yes, but unguarded.
In the history, the only wizard to escape the only wizarding prison. Let's put him in a classroom. We got him.
Unguarded. Why? Why? Yes, we've got him chained up. He's good. No, he's not.
Well, we locked the window.
It's a very complicated spell.
We locked it.
But Snape, just like this whole situation, is sure that he's right. So, first of all...
Right about what?
Well, Poppy keeps locking the door, right?
No,
so somehow...
Poppy doesn't lock the door. Only Dumbledore locks the door.
Okay, so Snape barged into the hospital wing, again upsetting Madame Pomfrey or Poppy, right? Madame Poppy Pomfrey. Scaring Fudge, in my opinion, Snape right now is scaring Fudge.
Fudge is concerned.
Yes.
Fudge is concerned.
And he's being told to calm down by not only Fudge, but also Dumbledore, who, along with Poppy, agreed they were locked in and never left. And Snape's just running around. He's yelling at Fudge. It's Potter! You don't know Potter!
What did you do, Potter?
Yeah. And a good Dumbledore moment right here. Well, there you have it, Severus. Unless you are suggesting that Harry and Hermione are able to be in two places at once. Oh, I'm afraid I don't see any point of troubling them any further. And I love Fudge's response. Fellow seems quite unbalanced. I'd watch out for him if I were you, Dumbledore.
Here's my question about this one. So we know that Hermione gets permission from Professor McGonagall to have the time turner.
Yeah.
You'd think that the staff would know. You'd think that the staff would know.
You'd think that Fudge would know.
Well, that's the thing, because remember,
but Fudge,
McGonagall had special permission from the Ministry.
Yeah.
So you wonder, is that something important enough to get the Minister involved? I imagine that most everyone at the Ministry sees Fudge for who he is and feel like they're smarter.
Yeah,
so
they're
like, we'll sign off on this. We don't need to let Fudge know. He'll forget it anyway. So right. I've always wondered, like, Snape had no inclination that a student at Hogwarts had a time turner. And we know in future books, the time turners are kept in what's it called, the Hall of Mysteries, or the
something like that.
Yeah, something of mysteries. Anyway, Department of Mysteries. So you're like, that's kind of top secret stuff. That's important stuff, and we know that Fudge has shown Malfoy kind of around back there, not all of it. So you'd think that the Minister of Magic would know, but I guess, you
You
kind
would
of
think
have
the
this.
Minister of Magic would know a lot more than he does.
If there's a time machine in the hands of a 13-year-old girl. That's all I'm saying.
Nope, not Fudge.
Yeah, but I love that Fudge says that, and then Dumbledore's like, "Oh, he's not unbalanced. He's just suffered a severe disappointment."
Yes.
Which, thank you, Dumbledore. Thank you.
It's a great way to say it, too.
Yes,
Love it.
he has. So Fudge, being this political figure, which we all love political figures, assumes that the Daily Prophet will have a field day with him. And just like all political publications should, when political figures mess up, it's important that we criticize. We should praise where they do good, and we should criticize when they do poorly.
Yeah.
They had Sirius Black by himself, unguarded, in a classroom.
You think they would put that part in the Daily Prophet?
They'll never know. Maybe I don't think anybody at Hogwarts will divulge how Sirius got away.
How terrible the plan was. Yeah.
So anyway, Dumbledore asks if the Dementors will go now. Chapter notable number 3. Fudge says yes, but then goes on to say that he never thought they would attack an innocent boy. These Dementors that feed on happiness. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that these Dementors would just feed on random school children, right? And then I love, he mentions, maybe we'll use dragons to keep watch at the doors. Number one, I don't think that would be any safer, but I love that Dumbledore was like, Hagrid would like that. Hagrid would like that very much.
Yeah,
yes,
I've always had an issue with Fudge being so easy to dismiss the Dementors. It was a huge deal, and now all of a sudden, because it attacked a kid? It's been attacking people the whole time they've been there.
Well, and here's the thing. Fudge is still under the impression that Sirius wants to kill Harry.
Yeah, so let's just take away the protection and put nothing in its place.
Yeah, so there's nothing. We know that...
A joke about a dragon, which would be, I think, worse than a Dementor, because it could actually kill you.
Well, indiscriminately.
Yeah.
Right? So it's one of those things like Fudge, Sirius got away, but he's still like, oh, he was here. He was here to kill Harry, and then we accidentally let him go. Yeah, let's just fall back. This part doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
This part doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
Dumbledore's happy. Dumbledore never wanted them there in the first place. So on that side, it makes sense. But for Fudge, it's just, they're gone.
Yeah. So it's
Trolls,
interesting.
Nothing at all. Nothing. Just nothing. No enchantments. Enchantments that we keep talking about that you can use to protect the castle.
We've got
None
a few.
Of that.
There's a few of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, they leave. Madame Pomfrey locked the door behind them while Ron woke up, asking, obviously, what happened. And we have to remember, this is still the end of year, like exams and all that jazz are happening. But do they have another Hogsmeade visit?
Yeah, this is their last one.
Okay. So to take the edge off, they have another Hogsmeade visit. It's Dementor free, no Dementors, which would have been the only Hogsmeade visit of the school year, by the way.
It should have been. It should have been the only Hogsmeade visit of the school year.
The only Hogsmeade with
Let's send the kids to Hogsmeade. What about the Dementors? The kids need to get out. They'll understand.
The mass murderer only wants to murder one child, not these other children.
Yeah. Never mind that a big, massive group of people would be easier to hide in.
Yeah. But Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they're like, no, we don't want to go to Hogsmeade. So enough rule breaking for 1 year, I guess. They're like, what? I'm allowed to go now? Nah, we'll stay here. It's only fun if I get to sneak there. But then Hagrid comes into the picture, which, obviously we all love Hagrid.
So I have an issue with this as well, Andrew.
Okay.
I have a question. Why do the three of them let Hagrid believe that Buckbeak set himself free? Why don't they tell Hagrid everything that happened? I mean, yes, there's instances where they tell him something and he just outright refuses to believe anything that they're saying, but I'm just curious about this. It seems a little deceitful, but at the same time, seems kind of harmless.
Number one, we're
It's
talking about
confusing.
Hagrid. Mr. I should not have said that.
Like,
Hagrid.
I get
Mr. I
letting
get
them.
drunk at bars and I tell secrets for dragon eggs. Hagrid. The man, we've already seen him drunk.
Okay, I see where you're going. I see where you're
You
going.
can't trust
I see where
Hagrid
you're
with
going.
a secret. He'll tell somebody, like right now, he can go out and scream to the world, Buckbeak is free. He let himself go. He found out how to escape. He's free. But once he knows that he was set free, then
Just
it's like,
imagine
oh,
the weight trying to keep that secret. Okay,
yeah, no way. Come on. Hagrid.
Never thought about that. That checks. That checks.
Yeah,
That checks.
not, no secrets for Hagrid. No secrets for Hagrid.
Definitely not.
No, I should not have said that.
So then Hagrid tells him, chapter notable number 4, that Lupin resigned because Snape had told the Slytherins that Lupin was a werewolf. This brings me to another question, and I'm curious, how many people at Hogwarts knew Lupin was a werewolf? It says the staff knew, but then it seems like Hagrid just found out, and that could just be me reading this wrong. But it really feels like Hagrid just found out that Lupin was a werewolf.
Again, I think Dumbledore knows Hagrid very well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought this chapter painted Hagrid in a kind of ditzy way. But
Well, now, but you would assume, right? You would assume that Hagrid was in the Order of the Phoenix and knew Lupin outside of class. Because here's what's wild:
well, he
Hagrid
went to
is
school with him, right?
no
Like
Hagrid.
no.
Hagrid went to school 50 years ago with Voldemort.
That's right.
Lupin went to school. If Harry is 13, Lupin was in school 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So Hagrid is considerably, like 30 years older than Lupin, which is weird because they don't like at least the movie characters. Because once you see the movie, like those, when you read, those are the people you see. Like those are the characters you see. And the actor Robbie Coltrane and I can't remember who plays Lupin. Dadgummit, but they're not terribly the way that they dress them up. Their characters, they don't look 50 years or 30 years apart. But you would assume that Hagrid already knew before Lupin was a professor that Lupin was a werewolf. So yeah, hard to. But we don't have that backstory yet.
Yeah.
We don't have that backstory yet. So
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like Hagrid should know more than he does. But then again, he's not the best secret keeper.
He's not good at keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah. Okay. So it makes sense. So, anyways, so Harry rushes to Lupin's office, and it kind of seems like Hermione and Ron understand why Lupin is leaving, and they just don't really see the point in going, which I was a little disappointed in that. I thought they would have went because, I mean, it's Lupin. It's Lupin.
Yeah, like he's already resigned. What are we doing? We can't do anything. But Harry had a special relationship with Lupin.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Even before the whole Godfather, before we were best friends with your dad, Lupin really kind of stepped up as a professor for Harry, more than he did for Ron, more than he did for Hermione.
Yeah, Harry has quite a bit of father figures throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So once Harry's in his office, Lupin tells him that everything is okay, and the reason he's leaving is that Snape, quote unquote, accidentally let slip that he was a werewolf, and he could just imagine all the owls coming in the next day, that Lupin is a werewolf, and I don't want my kids around a werewolf. And Lupin completely understands. He's got to be upset, but Lupin being Lupin, he's like, I get it.
Well, and he gets it, and you got to remember last night, well, not last night, just a few nights ago, he was loose on the grounds of Hogwarts. And just how nervous that would make him.
Well, and he said before, when the four of them were going around the ground, she's like, oh, that's my biggest regret doing that.
Yeah. So, I can see him. He made a mistake. He broke Dumbledore's trust. The parents are going to have a heyday
Dumbledore
with
he didn't even care. Dumbledore did not care.
No. Because Dumbledore knows everything that happened that night. Dumbledore knows that this circumstance and situation is not going to happen again next year. Right? There's no reason, for him to run out to save Sirius's life next year. Man. But I get it. Lupin is so well mannered. He's got such good empathy and sympathy for others. He can put them. It's like, the parents aren't going to want their kids taught by a werewolf, so I'm going to step down so that's not an issue. I get it. Lupin's a good man.
Yeah.
So we get a little emotional with Lupin. Like, we've grown, I think, even as a reader, like, we've grown close to Lupin as a character. And Harry's like, you can't go. You are the best defense against the dark arts teacher that we've had. And Lupin, I'm sure he internalized that and took that to heart, but he kind of ignored that, changed the conversation.
He was kind of like, you felt it right there too.
Yeah. So Lupin kind of changes the conversation, and he goes, from what the headmaster told me this morning, you've saved a lot of lives last night, which shouldn't have been last night because this is after a Hogsmeade visit. Anyway, Harry, if I'm proud of anything I've done this year, it's how much you've learned. Tell me about your Patronus. Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Especially, can you just imagine telling him it's the stag. It's a stag. It's a stag. And like we've talked about before, Lupin told him that's why his father was called Prongs.
Yeah.
Because of the stag. And then Lupin hands Harry back the invisibility cloak and the Marauder's map and says, I'm no longer your teacher, which just tells you how great of an uncle Lupin would have been. So I don't feel guilty about giving this back to you, right? So,
that's great.
He's like, it's of no use to me, and I dare say you, Ron, and Hermione will find uses for it. And so they talk a little bit more, and then, I think Dumbledore comes in at that point, and Lupin's like, Dumbledore comes in, and he goes, hey, your carriage is here. And Lupin's like, no need to see me out. I hate long goodbyes. I'm out of here. So one of the best characters in the Harry Potter series leaves. But he does say, I dare say we'll see each other.
Yeah, that's great.
Soon,
yeah.
Right? So you get this little tease of, okay, Lupin, because we don't see Quirrell again for obvious reasons. We haven't seen Lockhart again for, I guess obvious reasons. But now Lupin, you're like, don't let us lose Lupin. He's like, no, I dare say.
I wonder if J.K. knew what she had with Lupin. And
that's a great question.
If bringing him back was, we'll see what happens, or if it was purely intentional.
I would imagine, just hypothesizing here, I would imagine it was intentional. One of his dad's best friends, the best friend to his godfather, was in the Order of the Phoenix. Like, I think that's one of those intentional moves that because Harry and Lupin grew close together, that she wouldn't just leave him out. But again, that's just...
It's good that she didn't.
Just
it's
a
good.
guess.
It's good.
Yeah.
So at this point, Dumbledore's in there, and Harry and Dumbledore start talking. And
I love a good Harry and Dumbledore alone chat. Those are some of my favorite times.
And then Harry and Lupin. You can't get much better than that in this series. But this is where we learn that Professor Trelawney has made another prediction prior to the one that we read about in this book.
He says it's so funny. He's like, "Do you think that? Do you think it was a real prediction?" He goes, "I dare say it was," which brings the amount of correct predictions up to 2. I should give her a pay raise. Like he's just so nonchalant. Harry's just like, Pettigrew is gonna help Voldemort come back, and he's like, I should give her a pay raise.
Well, I didn't include it in here, but he starts telling Dumbledore about the prediction, and she went, oh, weird. She weirder than normal.
Weirder than normal.
That's so great. And I understand Harry right here. So he found out the truth about Peter and saves the lives of Buckbeak and Sirius Black. That's a pretty good accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is they don't have Peter Pettigrew in custody. He's out there somewhere as Peter Pettigrew now, not Scabbers, and he's essentially a free man. And because of that, and the fact that Lupin left, Harry feels like this is all for nothing. Like, oh, what was the point on all this?
Yeah.
Like, Peter's out there, Sirius is hiding. It's not much better than it already was. Right?
Now, we do know, it's interesting that you say that. We do know that Peter does spend more time as Scabbers.
Yeah, but he goes in and out now.
He goes in and out now. We never see him again as Scabbers. We only see him as Peter, but he does talk a little bit in the next book of how he finds Voldemort. And he in Scabbers form, he talks to the mice that are like, well, we don't go over there. There's a spirit that controls the snakes. And Peter's like, yep, that's what I'm looking for.
Or he was like, oh no, I have to
Why
go
am I
over
doing
there
this? Why am I
now.
doing this? It makes no sense for him to go. Anyway.
He's a huge coward.
Yeah.
But what's worse about this, because of Trelawney's prediction, Harry feels that because Voldemort's servant has gone back to him, that if Voldemort does return, because of the help of Peter Pettigrew, it's Harry's fault and his fault alone.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I'd blame Hermione, but I get it. Hermione wouldn't let me go get it.
I have a lot of anxiety, so a lot of the things Harry thinks about, I'm like, oh man, I'm right there with you, man.
Sure.
Yeah, it's tough. But this is where we learn chapter notable number 5, that in the magical community, if one witch or wizard saves another witch or wizard's life, they are now in your debt, and they are in your debt until it has been repaid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a magical, and for lack of better words, binding contract that cannot be broken. And, we're going to see proof of this in later books.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And it's not just in this series, too. I listen to other magical stuff, too, and stuff like this happens, and they're in debt as well. So it's a magical thing. It's not just a Harry Potter thing. And what we know right now is Harry Potter wants no connection with Peter Pettigrew, and now they got this special bond.
No. Yeah, exactly. And Dumbledore even brings up, he's like, Voldemort's going to hate that he's got a servant that's magically bound to Harry.
Problem with Voldemort is
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know, and if he did know, he would say, bull.
Yeah.
Right? So
probably magic that he doesn't believe
understand,
in.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, anyway, Dumbledore and Harry, they kind of, stop talking about Peter Pettigrew, and then we circle back to Harry's Patronus. Now, this conversation is kind of where we get into the loophole of J.K. Rowling and the Bootstrap paradox. Okay? So, he told Dumbledore about how Dumbledore asks Harry about the Patronus, and he tells Dumbledore, look, I was able to do the Patronus and he felt a little embarrassed to say, I thought I saw my dad out there. And Dumbledore was like, no, that makes perfect sense. You do look like your dad, right? You do look like your dad. And here's like, yeah, but my dad's dead. And he's like, do you think that the dead truly ever leave us?
Oh,
right? Which is kind of the first, we kind of get this theme.
I listened to the dramatized version first, and then I went back and listened to Jim Dale, and it got to this part, and I teared up a little bit, and I was like,
Which one did you like better?
Jim Dale. No one does it better. I did not get that emotion out of the dramatized. I mean, it's good. It's good. But, man, just hearing Jim Dale say it,
so good.
It's true, too, because if you think about the people you've lost in your life, this does not sound like something that's made up. So
yeah, really cool. So again, Dumbledore's like, you do look like your dad, obviously, except for your eyes. You have your mother's eyes, and he's just one of many. Harry hears this many, many times. Obviously, he's full of great quotes, and here's one right here. And so this is what he says, right? You think the dead we loved ever truly leave us? You think that we don't recall them more clearly than ever in times of great trouble? Your father is alive in you, Harry, and shows himself most plainly when you have need of him. How else could you produce that particular Patronus? Prongs rode again last night. Right?
And without context, you go, Dumbledore did know.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. Now, here's what's cool. Here's what's cool about this. So Dumbledore brings up the form. He goes, when I saw the form that your Patronus took at the Quidditch match.
Because we don't say what it was. Yeah, we don't know what it is.
Well, he says that it took a form. So it obviously the euphoria of the Quidditch match. No Dementors were present. It's safe to assume that Harry's Patronus took on a corporeal form. Or
it tried to. Maybe it was about
to. And I think Dumbledore saw, because Harry does the Patronus and then he immediately turns his attention back to the
he doesn't look at it.
To the snitch, right? So Dumbledore almost insinuates here, like, you're at the Quidditch match, you cast prongs, right? Your Patronus took the form of a stag. So if that's correct, then Harry did already know how to cast the Patronus as a stag. He did already produce a corporeal Patronus. He was just unaware of it. So the fact that he did it again.
I also think him finding out, and I think I talk about it later, but I think him finding out that his dad's Patronus was a stag had a huge, impact on his Patronus. But I guess at that time,
he didn't know.
He didn't know, but
he wouldn't have known that.
But the way he produced that Patronus to drive off
he didn't
100
even
Dementors,
know. He didn't even know it was a stag.
Yeah, but I mean, when he drove off the Dementors, he knew that his dad was a stag. He might have not have known what his Patronus was, but he knew his dad, his animagus, was a stag, right?
Yeah, but
so I think that had a huge impact on
past Harry.
Yeah,
didn't recognize what the Patronus looked like.
Yeah.
He just knew that there was something silvery and shiny going about. Even when Harry cast his Patronus, he's like, oh, not a horse, not even a unicorn, but a stag.
Well, even that whole time, he's like, I think I saw my dad. I think it was my dad. Like, he's got this my dad. And
I could see that.
I think that had a big thing to do with it.
Yeah. So going back to the Bootstrap paradox, if Harry did already cast a stag Patronus at the Quidditch match, then he had already had previous experience doing it.
Yeah.
Then when he goes to do the Patronus, he's back there, and the knowledge of him being able to cast the Patronus gave him just a little extra Yeah, let me do it.
I don't
put
have to
myself
ask
in.
Hermione to try. That was his happy
Yeah,
thought.
I'm doing it. Yeah, everybody doesn't want me to do this. I'm breaking all the rules of Patronum. Yes.
Ah.
Yes. Yeah, but so kind of to round all that off, I love that Dumbledore wasn't upset or disappointed at having three unregistered anime guy walking around. He was like, yeah, it's kind of impressive, right?
Yeah.
Kind of impressive that they were able to learn how to do that. That's not easy.
No. Man, I was hoping you'd read that last paragraph so that you would crack yourself up.
Which one? We find out that Dumbledore and Sirius talked quite extensively. They didn't just talk about Peter Pettigrew, but they also talked about the Silver Foursome's unregistered animagus. That's awesome.
Brought it back.
That's right.
So you just have to believe. I mean, they're at a school. So the whole school is just throwing out guesses as to what happened. They all know something happened. They don't know exactly what happened, right? Because I think this is actually a secret that stays a secret, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. This one, yeah.
Yeah, but they know that Sirius escaped, and I'm not sure if they know about Buckbeak, because I don't even know if that would be relevant. Why would they care about
Well,
Buckbeak?
I think they would know about Buckbeak because of Draco.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And Draco's super upset that Buckbeak escaped, and that.
Yeah, so Malfoy, which we haven't heard much from Malfoy in this book. That doesn't really have anything to do with Buckbeak, but he was convinced that Hagrid had found a way of smuggling Buckbeak to safety. And Percy said, if I manage to get into the ministry, I'll have a lot of proposals to make about the magical law enforcement.
Oh, Percy.
Everybody was really upset about Lupin basically being forced to leave. They even went as far as making jokes about the position, asking if maybe we'll have
what do you think we'll have
next year.
What do you think we'll have next year? Maybe a vampire.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but Harry still hasn't told Ron and Hermione about Trelawney's prediction, right?
It's not brought up yet. Yeah, not brought up.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, end-of-year exams had come up upon them, and they had all passed. Harry thought for sure that Snape would fail him, but he was even more sure that Dumbledore had a talk with Snape to prevent that from happening. Percy had top grades in the NEWTs. Fred and George had a handful of OWLs, and the Gryffindor house won the House Cup for the third year in a row. Very anticlimactic way to kind of talk about all of that. That's
Sure.
why I was a little disappointed in this chapter, if I have to be honest.
No, I wasn't disappointed in it. I'm glad, the story was over.
Yeah.
Sirius has been saved. It's good. Wind it down. I like that she just wound it down. Just wrapping all up the loose ends up.
Yeah.
I didn't think we don't need to go
expected
into
more.
Yeah, we don't need to go into much. But now we're done. School year's done, and now we get back on the Hogwarts Express, right? The end of our current journey, and we find out that Hermione had finally come to her senses, and this was interesting. This is interesting how the book. I want to pull this up. This is how the book.
And while I was doing the script, I didn't even realize that they were on the Hogwarts Express, because I think it's only one sentence that talks about them being on the train, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, they're back on the train."
Yeah, they're getting
Where did they mention that?
Yeah, so they're leaving. They're on the train, and Hermione. Let's see. Yeah, so she goes. I went to Professor McGonagall this morning just before breakfast. I've decided to drop Muggle studies. And Ron's like, wow, you got 320% on the exam. And Hermione's like, yeah, I know. And then she says, but I can't stand another year like this one, that time turner. It was driving me mad. I've handed it in. Without Muggle studies and divination, I'll be able to have a normal schedule again.
Oh, she also had ancient ruins.
Runes. So, ancient ruins would actually be a lot cooler than ancient ruins because they could like travel to see these ancient ruins. That would be cool. But the way it is, I can't stand another year like this one. That time turner, it was driving me mad. I've handed it in. Without Muggle Studies and Divination, I'll be able to have a normal schedule.
She would
So
have
it's
had to
almost like,
hand it in either way, right?
well, so that's my question. Like, why did she
Yeah.
say, yeah, why would she say it like that? Like, were they just going to let you hold on to it so that you could have enough time over the summer to,
Maybe the underlying meaning was they've handed it in for good.
yeah, okay, maybe that. I was
Yeah.
like, I've handed it in. Almost like I voluntarily handed it in. I didn't
Yeah.
have to if I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I thought the wording was interesting there. So anyway, Ron was still like appalled, like so offended. Right, I can't believe you didn't tell us about the time turner. And Hermione's like, look, I promised. I promised. I'm a Gryffindor.
See,
I promised.
Hermione can keep secrets.
Hagrid cannot.
I
keep
should have
secrets.
said that. I should have
Hermione-
said that.
That's right. So Harry, obviously they're on the train. Harry, yet again, not looking forward to going to the Dursleys. And then chapter notable number 6, Ron comes up with the idea. Yeah, I've been thinking about them too, the summer holidays. Harry, you've got to come stay with us. I'll fix it up with Mum and Dad. I'll call you. I know how to use a Feliton now. Obviously, Hermione couldn't let that go. And then he talks to Harry about the Quidditch World Cup this summer, which I think is just a super cool thing that she introduces to the story.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool thing that she introduces to the story.
So, do you think that Quidditch is... Do you think there's just the right amount of Quidditch in these books or not enough? I'm not even a sports guy, and I think there's not enough.
Here's the thing. I think it's fine. I don't think we need any more of it. I think
It's just they make such a huge deal of it, and then we don't really see much of it.
well, and here's what I think is weird. There's only 4 teams at the school. And it sounds like they only play each other once. So, the Gryffindors only have 3 games a year. So each team only has 3 games a year, and there's not really a championship game. There's just a game where it's like, okay, if we're going to win the Quidditch Cup this year, we have to score this many points so that we.
I never really thought about that.
Yeah, so
they don't play other schools.
Yeah, they don't play other schools, and they only play each team. So far in the 3 books, there's not been a time where Gryffindor played Hufflepuff in chapter 3, and then they play Hufflepuff again in chapter 9.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, okay, well, we need Ravenclaw to lose to Hufflepuff, and we need Slytherin to only, so I would say the whole, as big and as popular as it is, there's just not many games.
So it's talked about just enough.
Yeah. It's not like, I don't look at be like, Quidditch is. I love reading the parts about Quidditch. It's like, okay, Quidditch is part of the stories.
Yeah.
And it's cool how Harry learns to fly. Obviously, book 1, like he learns to fly and, he gets the ways that he's able to. And now interesting things happen during Quidditch, right? So like this book, the Dementors affecting Harry, and then, Harry using the
It's a
Patronus.
new way. It's a way to introduce new characters as well.
Introduce characters and events along the story. Yeah. It doesn't like even I love the Quidditch World Cup, the build up to the game, the stadium, the campgrounds. Everything is cool, but it's all a build up to the Dark Mark.
Yeah,
so it's cool. I think she makes it work. Great.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, they talk about the Quidditch World Cup, and then, Trolley comes around. They're playing games of exploding snap. Like, this is what you would want for the train ride home.
Yeah. Even while they're playing the game and Owll shows up at the window, now you have to remember they're on the Hogwarts Express, but, Hagrid threw out an owl and like a full-fledged storm, so I guess this should not come as a surprise.
And this is kind of another plot hole for me. Owl Post is a very magical way of communication.
Yeah.
Right? Because
again, Owl Post again.
Owl Post again. But if you write a letter to someone and give it to an owl, the owl's nowhere to go.
Yeah. I always wonder about that.
If I'm magical law enforcement and I'm looking for Sirius Black, the first thing that I'm doing is I'm writing a letter to Sirius Black and I'm giving it to an owl, and then I'm letting that owl go, and I am following that owl because that owl magically knows how to get to Sirius Black.
Would the owl know not to take your letter to Sirius Black?
No, because Harry sends letters to Sirius Black in the next book.
Yeah, but would the owl know, like, hey, this isn't right. I'm not doing this.
No.
You don't think so?
No. What, the owl's going to be like, no, it's not right for me to take this letter to the convicted murderer that you're trying to arrest?
You never know. I don't know.
So
that's not a question I've ever heard. So
anyway, yeah. Like, oh, these owls can go anywhere. And apparently it's not just owls.
Yeah.
Right? In the next book, some parrots show up, or some exotic, warm climate birds show up to Harry with a letter from Sirius. So it's fun.
Anyways, they open up the window, they let the owl in, and there was a letter from Sirius.
Well, they don't even know it's an owl yet. They're like, like, is that what this thing is?
But I had to give this quote to you. It's a very long quote, and I thought about not putting it in, but
and
you
know I love my Sirius Black.
I could do the voice too. Dear Harry, I hope this finds you before you reach your aunt and uncle. But I like yours better.
Okay.
I'm going to clear my throat too.
That's my Uncle Vernon throat clear. His jowls. Yeah. 1 foot out of line, boy. All right, Sirius Black. Dear Harry, I hope this finds you before you reach your aunt and uncle. I don't know whether they're used to Owl Post, but
kind of sounds a bit like Hagrid.
Buckbeak and I are in hiding. I won't tell you where in case this owl falls in the wrong hands. I have some doubts about his reliability, but he is the best I could find, and he did seem eager for the job. I believe the Dementors are still searching for me, but they haven't a hope of finding me here. I am planning to allow some muggles to glimpse me soon, long way from Hogwarts, so that the security of the castle will be lifted. There is something I never got around to telling you during your brief meeting. It was I who sent you the firebolt. Crookshanks took the order to the Owl office for me. I used your name, but told them to take gold from Gringotts' vault, number 711, my own. Please consider it as a 13 birthdays worth of presents from your godfather. Now, before we go on...
Yeah, that's an issue. That's a huge issue.
It should have been 12 birthdays worth of presents.
Well, but the fact that we're taking money out of Sirius Black's vault, that's not an issue at all. What? Now maybe somebody dropped the ball.
Well, no. Here's the thing: magicalness here. He was named Harry's godfather. So he was given he was given access to his parents' vault. And so maybe him having access to his godfather's vault is some sort of magical contract as well.
I don't know.
We can assume.
It's strange.
Magical. But it's also, as we learn in future books, so remember, Harry is born July 31st. Okay? His parents were murdered on October 31st the following year. So Harry was 1 year and 3 months old. July, August, September, October. So he's 1 year and 3 months old. And we learn in future books that Sirius bought Harry his first broomstick on Harry's first birthday.
Yeah.
So consider this as 13 birthdays worth of presents from your godfather. This is an inconsistency in the storyline.
The first broomstick, I mean, how much could that have cost?
Well,
Probably
but
didn't cost very
he
much.
did give him a birthday present, his first birthday.
That's true, yeah.
So this would be 12 years
Yeah.
worth of birthdays. Not a big deal, but if you're following the storyline, you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah, I never noticed, so.
Well, there's just little things I like to. I think it's fun. It doesn't mess with the story or anything for me, right? It doesn't ruin anything. But it's like, oh, at this point, she didn't have the storyline for what they find at number 12 in book 7, So it's like, okay, very cool. So anyway, I would like to apologize for the fright I think I gave you that night last year when you left your uncle's house. I had only hoped to get a glimpse of you before starting my journey north, but I think the sight of me alarmed you. I am enclosing something else for you, which I think will make your next year at Hogwarts more enjoyable. If you ever need me, send word. Your owl will find me. All right. Soon.
I don't think that's supposed to say
Oh,
all right.
Yeah, what's it? I'll write again soon. I'll write again soon.
Yeah, I don't think I looked over this.
You need to pull up the PDF of these books and copy and paste. That's what you need to do.
So there was another letter included.
I, Sirius Black, Harry Potter's godfather, hereby give him permission to visit Hogsmeade on weekends.
There was also a P.S. at the end of the letter.
I thought your friend Ron might like to keep this owl, as it's my fault that he no longer has a rat.
Yeah, and Ron.
This was such a funny part. This was such a funny thing for Ron to do.
So he remembered that Crookshanks was the one that knew Scabbers was really Peter Pettigrew. Picked up the owl and...
What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Isn't he an owl? And then Crookshanks purrs, and he's like, "Okay, all righty."
Yeah, that's good. And then we get to the end here, which I'm both surprised and not surprised about how quickly Vernon just believes Harry. But so they get to the train station, and Vernon sees the letter that Harry's holding and asks what it is. What is that? What is that? If it's another form for me to sign, you've got another...
It's not. It's a letter from my godfather.
Godfather? You haven't got a godfather.
Yes, I have. He was my mum and dad's best friend. He's a convicted murderer, but he's broken out of wizard prison and he's on the run. He likes to keep in touch with me, though. Keep up with my news. Check if I'm happy. And by the look on Uncle Vernon's face, he believed every word that Harry said. Why would he press it?
Why would he believe it? That's my thought. Like,
what does it believe? What? Yeah.
Like, I would not. I'd be like,
Well, he knows he can't do magic out of school, right? He can't do magic on the holidays. Yeah. So he's not worried about it. It's like, if you do it again, you're going to get expelled.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think he's like truly worried about that anymore. But the fact that it's like, oh, my godfather wants to hear that I'm happy. Well, look, you're going to be miserable in our house, but I'm not going to do anything to invoke the wrath of a mass murderer.
Yeah. And that is the end of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Oh, I gotta say, I mean, we still got our final thoughts about the book coming up, but so I'll keep it, and I'll just keep it to this chapter. Big ramp down, big unwinding for this chapter. It got real complicated and real good for a while, and then we just completely wound down, just ever so lightly. like I said, I thought there should have been a little bit more to the chapter, but it does make sense that, I mean, we've already done that before, so it does make sense for it to wind down the way it did.
Yeah, I was cool with the way that it wound down. One of the things that I've thought over the years is that none of the books really ever leave on a cliffhanger like some other books do. We do know and anticipate, oh, Pettigrew is going to find Voldemort. That's what the prediction said.
Yeah.
But it's not like
they kind of end in a way to where if there wasn't another one, it's okay.
Well, it ends in a way where it's like, okay, cool. We have this respite, right? They're home. They're talking about the Quidditch World Cup. They're, all this stuff. So it's like, okay, good wind down, end of the year. We get this cheeky, haha, my godfather's a mass murderer. Don't make my summer too miserable. Cool.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then we go. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It wraps up Lupin. It wraps up, Fudge's and I guess the Ministry's take on Sirius Black. We get a letter from Sirius Black.
Yeah.
The confirmation, because you really don't think about it you don't think about the firebolt for a long time because so much happens. And then it's like, yeah, I sent you the firebolt. You're like, oh, okay. And Hermione was like,
Hermione.
Told ya. So, kind of wraps some things up.
But it wasn't jinxed, was it?
Yeah. So wraps some things up, puts a little bow on the book, on the Prisoner of Azkaban. And then
we're going to get into the Goblet of Fire, which is the third longest Harry Potter book. By the time we get into this book, I think it will take us into next year.
Yeah, I think I think this will, all in all, take us to 2027.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Thank you all for listening, and whether you're watching or listening to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, YouTube. If you hadn't hit that subscribe or follow button yet, then I got no words for you. I mean, I guess the only way I could forgive you is if you share this with who does somebody need to share this podcast with, Andrew?
All of your Potter friends.
Yeah,
Now I've got a question. Because typically we end with join us next time for chapter whatever.
Yeah.
Are they joining us next time for entire book review? What we loved, what we hated, what we liked, book different review. Things? Or is it movie review? It's book review.
Book review, then movie review.
Then movie review. Now, my favorite part about book review is the quiz.
Yes.
Is the quiz. And I need to let my daughter know she's got to start prepping.
Yeah. I love it.
Because we love, we love the quiz.
Yeah, and join us next time where we do the end of the book review, followed up by the movie review. And until next time, everybody, ChatGPT gave me another quote. We are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. Squib's Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobot and co-host by Andrew Beecham. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review, to inquire about being a guest and for questions and comments, or to just give us your Harry Potter story. Email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow my YouTube @KillPotterGuy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram @Squibs Corner Podcast.